So you're making the move to the Sacramento area and you've narrowed it down to two of the most popular spots in all the Sacramento area. Folsom, California, and El Dorado Hills. Honestly, minutes apart, but the lifestyle in both is completely different. We're talking about energy costs. We're talking about home insurance. We're talking about so many things that you need to know about. I mean, we're talking traffic as well, too. Guys, this video, we're going to break down El Dorado Hills versus Folsom, California. We're going to have real talk. We're going to bring in Corey McKinney, and we're going to talk a little about which one is better and who's better, which area is better for who, right? Some people are looking at resort style vibe. They want to be a little out there, a little isolated, maybe closer to Folsom Lake. Some people want to be in the thick of things. They want the community vibe. They want to be close to shopping. Each one is amazing. Beautiful sunsets. We're talking resort style vibes, but different, right? Some are closer to stores, some are further away, some have higher price tags, some are lower price tags. I mean, there's so many differences between those areas that for a person coming in maybe from the Bay Area and you're looking at both, you're thinking to yourself, these are pretty similar, right? They're right next to each other. They're kind of on the hill. They all have views. I mean, they look like they're close to everything. It's kind of what I want. Either one will work. Guys, that is probably the biggest mistake you're going to make. And in this video, we're going to break it down and talk to you a little bit about each one. And by the end of this video, I can almost guarantee you, you're going to know if you're an El Dorado Hills person or you're a Folsom person. And believe me when I say this, this could save you so much time, so much money, so much heartache, because the average relocation buyer who buys wrong usually lives in their house for about 2 to 3 years and then relocates to the other area. You don't want to do that to yourself. So in this video, let's talk Folsom, El Dorado Hills, who wins, who loses. They're both amazing spots. Let's talk about it. All right, guys, we are here with Corey McKinney. Corey, how you doing, man?
Awesome, Mark. Thank you for having me on again. Appreciate it very much. Yeah, I'm excited to duke this one out. I think I'm excited to hear what you think about both and your preferences and what, I don't think either one of us are on team one side or the other, but it'll be interesting to see how this all shakes out.
I mean, I'm not going to throw away if someone wants to buy me a house in Folsom or El Dorado Hills. I'm good. You guys feel free. Bring it on.
I'm in. Yeah.
It's all good. Okay, guys, stay till the end of the video where I will be giving away bags of Gold River granola. Not just this one, but I'll be giving away bags of granola for you guys. So I'll show you guys a way to win. They're free bags of granola. And it's going to be the first time I'm ever doing any type of giveaways, but I purchased a few bags with my own cash and I wanted to give it back to you guys. So at the end of the video, I'll show you how to basically send a text. You get a bag of granola. How can you lose? And the gold granola is awesome. It's Gold River granola. You don't have to live in Gold River. You can have that granola. All right. So let's get into Folsom and El Dorado Hills. Up to 50, gorgeous scenery. Folsom and El Dorado Hills are those spots that a majority of people who want to live in the 50, who want resort style vibe, want Folsom, want El Dorado Hills, and they kind of sometimes mix and match. They're kind of the same, but they're kind of different at the same time, right, Corey?
Yeah, very similar, very different. For me, one of the biggest changes is just that slight elevation change. There's a little bit of grade going up Highway 50 from Folsom to El Dorado Hills. And so that just changes your landscape, changes your atmosphere, changes the size of the trees, the type of landscape that you get. And the way that, El Dorado Hills is kind of designed from the get-go versus Folsom is very different. There was kind of a top-down design view that from the initiation from the start of El Dorado Hills that created it. With Folsom, I feel like it's just a very historical town that kind of just grew into the monster that it is. But yeah, there's stark differences and some strong similarities too.
For me, I think like when you look at El Dorado, I think you have more hills, right? El Dorado Hills, yada, yada. So as you're going up to 50, you can kind of feel the grading. And El Dorado Hills always reminds me when I'm driving around, it's just kind of windy roads, hills, beautiful scenery, great sunsets, great sunrises. It seems very hilly. But in Folsom does have those areas, Empire Ranch, Lakeview communities and everything too. But at the same time, what I feel about Folsom, it also have areas like Briggs Ranch, that are kind of flat. A lot of greenery, a lot of foliage. Areas like Broadstone as well too. Or, like the areas that are kind of bougie, but they're so close to like kind of everything, like 5 minutes to the Palladio. And for the most part, yes, you have the town center in El Dorado Hills, but as far as for your normal hey, we're going to go to Nordstrom Rack or we're hitting Costco. I mean, they're kind of heading down the hill a little bit to Folsom, don't you think?
Yeah, well, for now, there's a Costco going to be built right off of what Silva Valley Road, which is one of the first exits on Highway 50 in El Dorado County. And I think that's the big push of why they're building another Costco there, is because El Dorado County sees all those sales tax dollars going down to the Folsom Costco. But yeah, if shopping and malls, if you're at like a major mall or those major retailers constantly, you'll probably like Folsom a lot better than El Dorado Hills, because El Dorado Hills is just, there is shopping there, but if you want some of those bigger stores or more kind of big box shops, yeah, you'll have to go down to Folsom for that. And that, sometimes that changes things for people. For me, I live in Cameron Park, just behind El Dorado Hills, and that 15-minute drive down to a store is nothing to me. It could be a 2-minute drive or a 20-minute drive. I'm in the car all day long, regardless. It almost doesn't matter. But I love my little hideaway, my home in the hills, if you will. But some people don't like that.
I think Cameron Park is like a jewel. I think Cameron Park is one of those spots that, like, I kind of think of it kind of like Gold River, where a lot of people had heard about it, didn't really hear about it.
Yes.
I want Folsom. And you're like, keep going there. Go to El Dorado Hills. We're good. We want to keep our kind of small vibe and everything too. I like Cameron Park. I like Shingle Springs. I like the areas that are kind of like outliers. You know what I mean? Like those areas for me are really like, that's where for me, I just like it. And we got Derek saying neither. Both places have expensive home insurance. Also, both are far from the airport. Derek's a big West Roseville person as well too, and I think West Roseville, new surf park, new Costco, definitely on the other side of the Sacramento area. But I love the West Roseville area. Now the Placer One's erupting as well too. I mean, that area is just smoking hot. But on the 50 side, Folsom Ranch is another spot that is just like growing. I mean, what do you think about the traffic on East Bidwell? It's something I hear people doing videos and everything too, and no one addresses East Bidwell traffic. For me, we keep it transparent. So East Bidwell traffic is a little bit of a bear, don't you think?
It is. It is a bear. And it's getting worse, especially during commuting hours. I mean, just the on-ramp, off ramp on East Bidwell, mainly on the side heading east, it gets backed up until there's the lane on the freeway. That off ramp is long. It's almost a half-mile long, maybe even longer, and it's solid packed cars during the heavy traffic hours. And I saw a news article a couple weeks ago about the Folsom kind of city planners and people taking a hard look at that and realizing that they have to get ahead of this and either add in another exit somewhere or start diverting traffic. And if you're local, like if I experience this all day long, you kind of learn the tricks. I get off a little bit before, or I take Iron Point, or I get off on Prairie City and come up. I go one exit past all the traffic and cut back through. But yeah, they're going to have to do something. And I don't think widening East Bidwell is going to be a project we're going to see in the near future.
I can tell you this, and it's nothing against anyone or whatnot, but I saw the plans, how they were planning on putting 15,000 homes in New Folsom, right? And I'm looking at East Bidwell ahead of time, and I'm like, Houston, we have a problem. It's amazing that after like 5,000 homes actually have already gone in to Folsom Ranch, now city planning is going, I think we might have a problem here.
It's like, backwards.
I think there's a problem. There's accidents. It's like we're putting in UC Davis Extension or the building over there. We're putting in Dignity. Yeah, I'm thinking we might have a problem here. We might have to work on the roads. It's like, yes, you need to work on the roads. Mm-hmm. If you plan on putting in they plan on putting in 15,000 houses, 5,000 are already put in. Like, you are going to have a bottleneck. This is going to be a big deal. The idea that you put in, this stuff after 5,000 homes have already been built. I mean, come on. I mean, the plans were there a long time before like we got here. And, I've been saying this on the channel for like 2 years. I'm like, Bidwell is going to be a problem. And it kind of is at this point. So hopefully they do something. I mean, it'd be nice, right?
Yeah, and I've talked to a planner a long time ago, a city planner. They were in El Dorado County, but they've said most of the municipalities all kind of operate the same way. So they almost do this on purpose, where they cannot get approval to build those commercial developments, the gas stations, the shopping centers, the hospitals, and all that, until they have occupied rooftops. So they have to have X number of homes occupied in the area first before they can kind of justify these other things. And then once they justify those other commercial developments, then they have all this push for, hey, we have to mitigate this traffic. It does seem completely backwards, but that's how they're operating right now.
I mean, here's the thing, and here's the big killer for it. I know this, but like everyone in the Folsom Ranch area is paying probably somewhere in the neighborhood between 300 and like 650 Melrose every single month. You'd think that that would have been assessed a little bit for even just doing it that way. So yeah, I don't really get it.
Right. And
All
maybe
right,
it
so,
is. Yeah. Who knows?
all right. So Jason says, how does Folsom El Dorado not have a mall with the summer heat? Winter cold, it's impossible to go to El Dorado Town Center, Palladio, or Sutter Street. No indoor options. Yeah, I know. It'd be nice to get an indoor. It'd be really nice to get an indoor mall somewhere in New Folsom, like a nice one though. Not like, now we're talking not Sunrise Part 2, but we're talking like somewhere that's really nice. It'd be nice to get something like, maybe like the Galleria-ish or something like here. I mean, I think that the price point is really, really high, where, El Dorado Hills is the second highest price point against like Grant Bay, but like it would be nice to have that option, have an indoor mall where, there was some nice shopping for people. Don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah. I really do think I think it would be nice. I think a lot of people would enjoy that. Um, a lot of people I know, it's like you're bouncing from your air conditioned car, you're kind of running right into the store you need during the hot season. You're not doing hey, let's walk around the outdoor mall, Palladio, things like that. It's kind of like jump in, get what you need, and then, hey, head to the lake, or do the next thing. But I think a lot more people would be out and about if, or all concentrated, I guess, in the indoor mall. But it's kind of surprising that these two fairly wealthy cities don't have an indoor option. They both have two amazing outdoor options, but nothing that's completely indoor.
It's just that Jason wants to work at Hot Dog on a Stick. That's what I heard. The rumors are. Joking. All right. So we got this terrible traffic on East Bidwell. Now they think about the planning. I know. I'm with you 100%. That comes first, not after. I hear Folsom Ranch will have 15,000 homes. Correct. Roseville is much better with their planning. 100%. I mean, that's the thing. You got what's called Placer Parkway being built there. You got the roads. Infrastructure is being built in West Roseville prior to all this kind of like building of homes. I mean, you have everything that's happening even at Placer 1. All the infrastructure is being dialed in prior to. So, I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. I think what you're going to end up doing is you're going to get a lot of people that are really annoyed about this. Traffic is going to be brutal even more. And as we all know, one of the Achilles heels of the Sacramento area is public transportation. I heard we have it. I don't know about it. I mean, I see a bus here and there. So we don't have public transportation that's really, really a viable option. Do we have it? Yeah, we have the light rail and we have the bus here and there, but I mean, it's not a viable option. So yeah, two Achilles heels. I mean, heat, whatever, but infrastructure and our public transportation. And it would have been nice for them to actually put that in, because I mean, we're building in, Folsom Ranch, that whole area, Mangini, all that stuff is like a brand new city, and you'd think roads would come in ahead of time. So I don't get it.
Right. Now, if you're, I have young kids, so if they're drawing, a city map, or, a treasure map or whatever, you draw the roads first. You draw your destinations, then you draw the roads first, and then you fill everything in. But it seems like the city planners do it backwards. Bizarre.
All right.
They must have some
Once I
reason.
can afford a personal shopper to handle my daily errands, it's El Dorado for the win. I'm with you. My personal shopper is Amazon. All right, here, hold on. Let me see. Okay, here we go. Let's go over here. Now, this is how June shaped up for Folsom and El Dorado Hills combined. Now, later on in the video, I'm going to break down statistics also. We're going to go statistics-wise for Folsom versus El Dorado Hills. We're going to talk about this year, last year, all that stuff too, price points, demand, and everything too, so you guys can get a little bit of an idea of both these markets if you decide to jump into it. So we got this June, 358 homes that were for sale, 158 homes sold. Homes were pending. We're more than, we've seen a little bit of a drop off. Months of inventory, 2.3, could be better. Average price per square foot, 385. And a combined median sold price of 838. What do you think of these stats? I mean, things are still moving. Things are still selling, even in this current market of higher interest rates and the slow kind of time of the year. Correct, Corey?
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of that midsummer slump, I would like to call it. Is it kind of, you know, people are still trying to cram in that last summer vacation before school starts, and the people who are, we might see a little uptick for July, just people cramming in, getting that home move done before the next school season starts. But yeah, it's things are still moving. It's not as fast as I think a lot of people expected it to be. Um, and yeah, there's that average median sold price is not a shocker to me, blending the two cities, because there's such high price points, and then you have more of that entry level, 700,000, $800,000 homes for Folsom, El Dorado Hills, and then you'll have the multi-million-dollar homes. So that median sold price makes sense, price per square makes sense. And yeah, that 2.5 months of inventory, almost every home you look at on the market, unless it's fresh on the market, a lot of them have over 100 days sitting on market, 100, 120, 140. That's common.
I think also what I'm noticing in El Dorado Hills, not so much as in Folsom, I think in El Dorado Hills, you're seeing a lot of homes that are overpriced right now. And that's just my own 2 cents, but you see a lot of stuff kind of sitting there, and the price point just doesn't match up to what's been selling in the area. So I think, you have some, I think you're seeing some of that right now a little bit more in El Dorado. Folsom, it seems like Folsom is still pretty smoking hot. I mean, things go, like you mentioned, like around, even if under $1 million in Folsom, that thing will fly overnight. Boom, multiple offers, and it's gone, as long as the pricing is somewhat decent. Our Jason says, for Folsom, I'd want to live in Toberry or Serpa for the sunset views. For El Dorado Hills, would choose Power Drive. Would never move to EDH and not have a view. LOL. Yeah, El Dorado Hills without a view, it's kind of, yeah. I mean, you want the view, you want the natural, like you want the nature. El Dorado Hills, there's something really nice about the drive to the windy roads, some of the houses too. It's just a beautiful, beautiful scenery. I mean, you go down that street, Greenview, up in Serrano, and you're feeling like you're somewhere in like Calabasas, or it's just beautiful area. And then in Folsom, yeah, Serpa, Torberry. I mean, that one house that weird kind of architectural house on the very end too. I mean, Serpa is amazing. Torberry is great. I like Sundal as well too. I like Townsend. I think those are streets that are just like have the views. Give El Dorado Hills kind of a run for their money, as far as that goes. I mean, I don't know. They're nice areas. I mean, both spots, like your Folsoms and your El Dorado Hills, definitely do have those areas that, I don't want to say can match up, because if you look at like bougie Folsom, like where Jason mentioned, like Serpa and Torberry, you're not really going to get those huge, huge lots. Where in like El Dorado Hills, like in Raphael, Serrano, and areas, you might have a bigger lot to play with. But in Folsom, I mean, you're going to get that downtown Sacramento view, where in El Dorado Hills, I think you're looking more like the Folsom Lake kind of views and the valley views. But both are just, I mean, they're beautiful, don't you think?
Oh, 100%. And with those views, especially on the Folsom side, well, and El Dorado Hills side, looking at the lake, you just get that sunset view coming in. But I will say, I have worked with many clients, love the view, hate that blazing sunshine all afternoon pounding into their house, their backyard. I've had clients move into homes in those areas and say, God, we love everything about it. We love it when it's cold, but we have to draw the blinds all the time. We don't even get to enjoy the view because that afternoon sun is just toasting our entire house, our entire backyard. We don't go out there to enjoy the view until it's, those cooler months when it cools down. So something to keep in mind, again, this is all very subjective to what your goals are and what you're looking for. But, in these summer months and this time, right now, even that sun going down on that hillside, it gets really hot, and then that can change the view of.
Yeah, I would also say that if you look at El Dorado Hills and like Folsom, the architecture, some of the houses tend to be different. Look at El Dorado Hills is like they're built a little bit more into the landscape. A lot of the Folsom communities, like your, Briggs Ranch, your Rancho Diablo, your areas like this have that kind of 3-level floor plan that was popular kind of in the 80s. The one where like you walk in and there's a living room, then you walk up those stairs, there's a kitchen, you walk downstairs, there's another living room, and then you walk up the stairs, and that's where like the 3 bedrooms are in the primary. And I think a lot of the architecture was like that in some of the Folsom areas. Whereas in El Dorado Hills, I think it was a little bit like more in the 90s. A lot of the communities were in the 90s, and you see a little bit more of like the higher ceilings. You see a lot. You just see a little bit more of like, I don't know, maybe a little bit more contemporary. Although 90s contemporary, it's kind of a crapshoot. But for myself, I think the flow of the houses in El Dorado tends to be a little bit better. You see that though in Folsom, in like how can I say it, in the Lakeview communities, in like Empire Ranch. It really does almost have. You can kind of see the architecture that they were going for when they were building El Dorado Hills out. Like that architecture. Empire Ranch, I tell people, if you want the best of both worlds, Empire Ranch, if you want El Dorado Hills vibe, but you want SMUD, like Empire Ranch is where I would look at.
Yeah.
I would say like you're going to feel like you're in El Dorado Hills, but you're going to be on SMUD. You're going to see the similar type of architecture, finishes and everything too, and bougie kind of lifestyle. That's kind of one of those areas I would say. What do you think about Empire Ranch?
I love Empire Ranch. I'm a little bit biased against, Empire Ranch is a large development, and if you look at it on a map, it kind of goes from north to south. The southern side that kind of goes up against Iron Point Drive, that's closer to Highway 50. That I feel like the feel, the weather, the maturity of the trees, the architecture, all of that has a very different feel from the like Blue Ravine side on the northern side.
Yeah.
That northern side has a lot more mature trees, has more shade. It feels a little cooler. It's closer to the lake. So I much prefer that side personally than the Iron Point side. And this is, geographically, and honestly, this goes for Folsom and El Dorado Hills, that the southern side of both edges of the city is much more like grassland than the northern side, which is much more kind of like, oak trees and more mature tree growth, and that's just something geographically that's happened in the area. And that northern side, I feel like a lot of people prefer, or I don't know, maybe I'm just biased, but I like that area more. I feel like there's more there. The southern side feels more of like a Arizona kind of feel to it. And it's
Okay.
probably just because it's a little bit newer, and a lot of that hasn't matured, especially Folsom Ranch side. It's just, there's not a lot of big growing trees because it's new. They turned
Yeah.
grassland into a neighborhood. So that just needs time. So I think over time that will change. But that northern side of Empire Ranch is really one of my favorite parts of Folsom.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head, though, for both of the areas, right? I think that there's a different variation to communities and neighborhoods in both Folsom and El Dorado Hills. Like you mentioned, right? Like Briggs Ranch versus like Sundal and Lakeview Oaks community, like, and then you have other spots like Folsom Ranch, even like Russell Ranch and Folsom Ranch, in my opinion, are a little bit different. But then El Dorado Hills,
Right.
you have like kind of the older school communities, like the Promontory. You got like Serrano, you have Blackstone. You have golf course communities like Serrano up in El Dorado Hills, and then you have golf course communities like Empire Ranch down in Folsom. So you have a little bit like whatever you want in Folsom, you can find in Folsom and in El Dorado Hills. You want something that like it has, views of Folsom Lake, you can get it in both areas. You want, golf course living, Serrano, you can go to like Empire Ranch. You have the choice of having any type of lifestyle in the area. So it's not just like hey, I'm going to Folsom. It's a one size fit all. It's like, okay, hold on. You're going to Folsom. What do you like in Folsom? And you're like, well, I kind of want something
Right.
with I wanted a little bit more, mature trees and everything too. Okay, let's go to Rancho Diablo and take a look at it. Do you want to be close to, Folsom Lake? Okay, Briggs Ranch could be a spot for you. I want views. Okay, let's go to Empire Ranch. And the same thing is with El Dorado Hills. So you can kind of pick your lifestyle in each area, don't you think?
Oh, 100%. And even just the amenities in those areas, you have his old historic Folsom. So much history. It's right on Lake Natoma, and that whole feel has so much heritage to it. But all of the shops are small. It's not big box shops. It's really kind of like specialty stores and antique stores and, nice restaurants, but they're smaller. Where on the southern side, you have Palladio, big brand new outdoor mall with more name brand big box shops, things like that. The feel is very different. So you could pick a spot in the middle, you could pick a spot that's closer to the lake. You might have an older, more historic home. You might, on the southern side, you might have a newer, bigger, better home. But the weather, the lifestyle, and the environment is completely different. But the best part about it is you're what, a 10, well, on East Bidwell, who knows, but you're a 10-minute drive, let's say, from either side. So it's not that big of a deal, at least for me, of it just picking where you want to be. You can't really go wrong.
Okay. Now check this out though. Folsom's got one thing El Dorado Hills doesn't have. I mean, I'm sure we can go back and forth in this stuff. Historic Folsom. El Dorado Hills doesn't really have an area kind of like historic Folsom where it's right on the water. People are rafting, kayaking, and everything too. But there's also like that whole area has been kind of revamped. There's like wine tasting rooms, tree lighting stuff, and ice rink during the winter. So like, what do you think that does to someone who maybe is coming in from the Bay and saying, I want Folsom, I want El Dorado Hills. I want a spot though that has kind of, a little bit more of that charm, the older vibe. I'd love to go by what do you say to that person who like Lake Natoma, that kind of thing is important to them?
I would direct them to the older portion of Folsom, that northern part along Lake Natoma, near Sutter Street, if you can. There's so much charm there. I mean, the oldest area of El Dorado Hills, I think the homes were built in like 78, 79. Late 70s is when they started building the first kind of villages. El Dorado Hills is broken up into villages, and that's how they started building them. And the oldest ones there, in the 70s, the late 70s. But if you want more historic charm, Folsom is your spot to go. If you want larger lots, you want a little bit more elevation change. And you had kind of mentioned this before, the homes in El Dorado Hills kind of have a little bit more of a different flow than I would say Folsom does. I think Folsom, just the geographic area, is a little more flat. It does have hills, but the majority of it, you're on the edge of Sacramento Valley. So you're just getting into the foothills, where El Dorado Hills is the foothills. So the builders have to accommodate for that. And they can't just take this same model home and just plan it, 10 different models in a neighborhood of 500 homes and just change models every other home. They have to kind of accommodate for that elevation change and make the homes a little bit more unique. So that older part of El Dorado Hills, I would say back in the 70s, people would probably look at those and say, oh, those are all cookie cutter homes. But we look at them today and say, oh, they all look different because they've had 50 years of updates and changes and all these things. But also that elevation naturally made the builders have to do things differently for every home.
Totally. Now, here's the thing about me. Like, if I'm showing houses in Folsom and I know a certain area, I kind of know what to expect, right? But El Dorado Hills, if someone's like, oh, you got something on Ridgeview, there's something, I'm like, I know it's going to be somewhat of an adventure. I know it's going to be like not cookie cutter. I know it's going to be something that I'm going to probably jump into. And based on like where it is on the side of the street, if it's on one side, it might have a windy driveway up. On the other side, you don't really know, because a lot of the architecture in El Dorado Hills was, like you mentioned, based on the topography of the land, like how is the land designed? There's like, we're not going to cut into it completely. We want to use it, to like maximize the views or create a nice little area where you have your privacy. We don't want to ruin it. In El Dorado Hills, I really do feel like a lot of people who live in El Dorado Hills, based on how hard it is to almost get anything built there, they're saying like, we moved here because it's gorgeous. We do not want people messing with it. We love it. And I think the architecture does reflect that. I think people are like, we want to build a house here, but we don't want to tear down the hill. We want to make it so, you know, you can make these stairs up there and you have this area where you can have some views, and maybe the second floor is here, the first floor is here, and then we can go down here. And I think there's something to be said about that, building into like the topography of an area. For me, I find those things to be a lot more interesting, a lot more unique, as you mentioned. I would even go to say, I mean, at least probably 20% of the homes in El Dorado Hill, maybe not that many, maybe like 15% are probably custom homes or probably one-offs. People are like, maybe not crazy like, you know, nowadays, like we're going to build that 7,000 square foot mansion. But I would say a lot of times they were like, yeah, I want to build my house. It's going to be 3,000 square feet and this is what I want to do. And I think that you're going to find a lot more of that in El Dorado Hills. What do you think?
Yes, absolutely. I completely agree with that. And what one caveat there is, you know, I was just showing homes to a couple they live in Pleasanton. They're looking to move up to the El Dorado Hills, potentially Folsom area. And their biggest thing, they were looking mainly at 55 plus communities. So they're getting older in age. They want absolutely single story. They love Cameron Park, El Dorado Hills feel. They don't want the newer or the southern portion of El Dorado Hills where a lot of the retirement communities are. And it's flat there. So all of those communities are single story homes. They love the look and feel of the northern side of El Dorado Hills and Cameron Park, but with that comes stairs. A number one deal killer for them, stairs. We don't want stairs. We don't want 10 stairs from the garage to the single story home. And also the driveways, you know, if you want a nice flat driveway, it's going to be a little bit harder to find in the foothills naturally. Where in the flatter parts or in Folsom, you'll have that nice big flat lot that you can really maximize and have that ease of access. Where in the foothills, you deal a lot with the steeper driveways and stairs, even in, you know, a single story home.
What are we talking about price point?
Between the two, between Folsom and El Dorado Hills?
No, your client. What price point are they looking? Because that's a huge factor as well too.
So they're very well established. They have a townhome, a large townhome in Pleasanton that they're going to be selling. They can purchase non-contingent probably up to 600,000, but if they were to purchase contingent upon selling, they're willing to go up to 9. So their budget is very broad, and it's really about just finding that right fit for them, because they're on that, hey, if we buy a cheaper home that's a good fit, that maybe it's not hey, let's go all out on our last home, but we'll have a bunch of extra money we can use for traveling, for our family. I've moved their adult son up to this area. They have now adult grandchildren too, so they're thinking kind of on both sides. Like, hey, do we buy a cheaper home more in the $500,000 to $700,000 range, or do we go on the other end and like buy more 800 to 950 and get something that we really love and enjoy as our kind of our last home? So they're really flexible.
Oof, I love that. Okay, you're going to have fun with them because, guys, if you are watching this, Corey's an amazing realtor. You picked a great one, and he knows all the ins and outs of Cameron Park and all that spot. You're going to have, I love tours. Touring with people, getting insight about this market. I love it. All right, let's get some questions, and we'll go into some stats for you guys too. And also, we have the granola free giveaway coming up later on the broadcast too. All right, Jason says, I love historic Folsom. Who doesn't? Great spot. Absolutely great spot. Outrigger Drive, Driftwood Circle, and El Dorado Hills are hidden gems for lake views. Goals. I know there are some spots. I went to the promontory and I was looking around at those communities as well too. I mean, there's some really nice ones. The thing is, it's hard to balance. You got to go lake views, but low home insurance. So that balancing act is kind of a hard one these days. We got this. Paula says, I'd love to see Folsom. If they can fix the traffic problems now, the building will happen much faster than they can try to fix anything. Too much old infrastructure to correct. Agreed, 100%. We need some good infrastructure in Folsom Ranch if they plan on putting new commercial in there. And we're only at 5,000 houses right now. So imagine what that's going to be like with an additional 10. So we definitely need more. All right, Wendy, Mark. When a buyer sees only the dream, while you could already see the challenges, how do you guide them without diminishing their excitement? I'd say usually good idea of comps, bringing some comps into the situation. I would say also disclosures are key. I mean, one of those things for the last house is the fact that the disclosures in the pest report guided you into a perfect decision. I'm a big believer in not telling a person what to buy, what not to buy. Corey and I are both on the same page as we're educators. We educate you with information. Information is something that you should have complete access to. Comps, disclosures, reports, and everything too. And then at the end of the day, some people will look at reports and say, you know what? It's not that bad. I want to do it. But at least you have full and utter transparency on the transaction. Right, Corey?
100%. Yeah, 100%. It's and I feel like when those aspects kind of align, most of my clients feel that like gut feeling, that gut feeling of like, oh my gosh, these things are all started. This feels right. I was concerned about inspections, but they came back clean. But you still have that hesitancy. It's a big move, big financial move, but keep looking until you feel that like that deep down trust that, hey, this is the right move for me, and you got to move forward with it. If those things aren't aligning, and there's always going to be that question in the back of your head. So at some point you got to take the jump, but you got to trust yourself a little bit too at the same time to know when it's the right move, and at some point you got to take the leap if you want the home. But I think it's really outlining what are your deal breakers and having a clear understanding on what those are when you're first starting to look at a home, or if you've looked at a lot of homes and start feeling overwhelmed. Those things start getting muddied up by, oh, I really wanted that pool, that backyard. If I could take that backyard and this home and combine them together and all of that, okay, then now you have a clear understanding of what you want. Let's go out and find it. But yeah, I mean, inspections unfortunately can kill that dream and that excitement, but that's the reality of real estate.
I mean, it is crazy, sometimes just like you can see a home, you think it's completely your dream home, and then all of a sudden it doesn't work, All right, Jason,
Yeah.
you want us to show you some views of this house? Oh, wait, hold on. Let's go. Video guy Matt, welcome to the show, man. I love Matt. He does some great stuff here. Stirs the pot a bit, but we love it. Mortgage rates hit 6.75. I know. And if you look at last year, they're starting to go down. And everyone's looking at me going crazy, going, oh, no, the market's great. It's like last year at this time, the market was slow and rates were going down. Imagine what the market's going to be like if rates stay up there or keep going higher. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be, yeah, I agree. Perfect storm is headed to Sacramento. I think, but it's the nation. It's everywhere. All right, let's go to some aerial shots of this amazing house. Here we go. Okay, so here we go. 3-day view. Ooh, man, I like that. Look at that.
Beautiful.
Man, that is crazy. All right, I like that. You got those views of the lake. I wonder if home insurance would be brutal over there too. I like it though. Man. That is nice. I think it's near Cortez
that house
Court.
Looks familiar.
Huh?
That house looks familiar. I wonder.
Look at that.
I wonder if that's been on. Has that been on the market before?
I mean, the square footage isn't that high. I mean, 15 for that ain't bad. Look at those views, man. Well, we'll give Jason a little love here, man. If you guys want to go check out Zapata, go take a look at it. Jason will show you. Jason's a good friend, and he's an awesome realtor. Even though he doesn't bring good old dad to any of these cool car events, it's okay. We still love him. All right, let's go to some stuff on. All right, let's go here. Okay, so as far as lifestyle comparison, I would say you can kind of have it all in each one of these communities, El Dorado Hills and Folsom. I would say the thing about Folsom that I notice is it seems to be a lot more people. Everything seems to be a little closer. You got the malls, you got the everything too. It just seems to have a little bit more of kind of, I don't know, just that there's volleyball courts, there's movie night in the park. Everything just seems to be easier to access in Folsom. Like if it's me and I'm bringing my family up and I'm in El Dorado Hills, I'm loving it. Don't get me wrong. Serrano, hey, call it a day, jump in the golf cart, go check out stuff. But I think Folsom is definitely that spot where you can hop on a bike and you can go somewhere to meet up with friends. I think you got historic Folsom. I think you got the Palladio as well too. It just seems to be a little bit easier. Now, as far as the light rail goes, yes, there is a light rail that hits Folsom, but ride it at your own risk. And you got lake activities. What do you think about this comparison though, neck to neck?
I think it's pretty spot on. The El Dorado Hills, I think those are, if you want to get a little bit out of that hustle and bustle, yeah, there's that PG&E change. I feel like a lot of people who live in El Dorado Hills or Cameron Park are just on this like edge of El Dorado County that butts up to Sacramento County, have decided that, hey, the bills and the utilities are going to be a little higher. Maybe you have that chance of fire insurance, but when you're driving back home to your house after a day of work, a long day of work, and you're doing that drive every single day, or after a long trip, or after a weekend, you want to love coming home. And so I think the people who live in this area really appreciate that and say, hey, the extra cost is far worth it. I'd much rather be in this area than Folsom. And I think the people who live in Folsom say, I don't want to do an extra 15, 20-minute commute to get to the things that I go to every day. And so it's very subjective, but I think that comparison is spot on. I wouldn't disagree with any of those aspects.
Now, if you were someone who had to commute to downtown Sacramento, Folsom, for me at least, would be it would be hard for me to go from Folsom to El Dorado Hills. I think I would kind of probably say to myself, like, Folsom, I can, even though the 50 is a bear, still a bear, but it would still be one of those things for, at least for me, I would say that like El Dorado Hills, because here's the thing, guys, here's the thing to understand is that El Dorado Hills goes deep in as well too. Like El Dorado Hills isn't just get off the freeway, you're in El Dorado Hills. It's like you get off the freeway, you're in El Dorado Hills, but you can keep on driving, you can go 20, 25 minutes deep into El Dorado Hills. I mean, that becomes a real kind of like a big commute thing if you need to go downtown, correct?
Yeah, because the northern side that butts along the south side of Folsom Lake, that portion, there's no adjoining highway access, or same, the same could be said if you work in Granite Bay or like off of Douglas at Granite Bay, Roseville edge, but you live in El Dorado Hills. Geographically, they look close on the map, but there's no highway connecting them. So your side streets around Folsom Lake, hey, it's a quick commute. You kind of you move quickly through that, but that drive can get, with traffic, or if there's an accident or things slow down, that drive can become 35, 45 minutes pretty easily. So yeah, the location within the city, I think, is almost more important than just the city in general.
For me, when I was looking for a home, I finally settled back in Gold River. I love Gold River. I'm here, but I was looking at Folsom, and I was seriously considering Folsom too. It's just inventory was like not great. I love Serrano. I love that area, but I was just going, there's just no way I can make this work because I got to go East Sacramento. I got to go everywhere. And it was just too much of a drive. Just couldn't make it work. Okay. So here's a house Jason was saying to me. 1737 square feet, 3 and 2, 900. Now, if you guys want to see this home, reach out to Jason, great realtor. You can see him on Instagram. Just type in cool guy on Instagram, realtor Sacramento, and you'll find Jason out there directly. But look at this. Look at that. This is a type of home I like. I'm not a big fan of a huge square footage home. I don't want to deal with air conditioning. I don't want to deal with cleaning. I don't want to deal with that stuff, right? But I love views. I love land. I love views. Like, look at this. So nice.
Look at all
That
those
is
windows.
clean.
Just a wall of windows. Floor to ceiling
That is
windows, my favorite. I love
beautiful. All right, guys, if you want to see one of the most insane houses under 900, hit my boy Jason up. He's the one who brought it to attention, so I give you full props, Jason. All right, let's go into some more stuff here. All right, so El Dorado Hills versus Folsom. I would say the price point for El Dorado Hills, especially since they put all the new homes in there. I think one of the things that kind of like brought Folsom prices a little bit lower was the fact that there were a lot of new homes that started selling in the Folsom Ranch area that were in the 600s, 500s, and everything too. So I think they brought down the price point a little bit. I think if the new homes weren't there, I think the price point would be a little bit closer to El Dorado Hills. But what do you think? Is this pretty much spot on?
Yeah, excuse me. I would say that they're the older portion of El Dorado Hills, I think you can get in that sub 900. I mean, this home that we're looking at here, I think is a great proof point. This is lake views. When you get over 1,500 square feet, kind of in general on properties, you'll see that little bump up in price. But this is lake views, El Dorado Hills address, and it looks remodeled. It doesn't look like a fixer upper or anything, and that's 900. So there's definitely entry level homes in El Dorado Hills that you can get far below this. Now, if you're in the 55 plus active communities, you can get. I just toured a home with that client that I had mentioned that was listed at 520, and it's 1,900 square feet. So I think you could push that a little bit lower, or hey, if your budget is 700 grand, but you want something nice in El Dorado Hills, I think you can get into that kind of 650 for a fixer upper, put in that extra 50 grand, or get something in that 500 range that's maybe in that retirement community, put that money into it, and you're going to have just a killer home that's a perfect fit for you. So I would
Oh yeah.
say El Dorado Hills, you could push that price point a little bit down. I think entry level for Folsom is spot on. And then the luxury ones are spot on price point wise.
Now, as far as market goes, if someone says to you, I got $1 million and I'm looking, even though the entry level house in Folsom is lower price point, I still think if someone gave me a pre-approval for $1 million and said, I'm looking to buy a home in either Folsom, El Dorado Hills, I think El Dorado Hills is going to be easier. I think Folsom for under $1 million is a tough nut to crack. It's still tough. I had to go to thinking to myself, okay, if anything gets listed in full, and that's a key word, if anything gets listed in Folsom for underneath $1 million, it's going to fly, it's going to have multiple offers, and we're going to go probably above list. El Dorado Hills, I'd say, okay, if we're looking at $1 million or under, we're looking at stuff maybe in Blackstone, stuff in other areas. And I think that like the chance of finding something that might be sitting for a little bit is a higher probability. What do you think?
Yeah, I would say that. I will say that Folsom, just adjacent to historic Folsom neighborhood is kind of the original homes of Folsom, and there is a pocket where the homes are smaller square footage. They're like 1,400 square feet, single car garage. You still have a decent sized backyard and front yard, but those homes can be had for below that $1 million price range, well below, into that starter range between 6 to 8. But if a lot of the times people don't fit in that category, in that smaller square footage size. So if you want something that's updated and, like, let's say over 1,600 square feet, yeah, that almost instantly kicks you up to that like 850 range plus.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, they're both hot markets. I think home insurance, though, I mean, we'll talk about that later in the video. I think that maybe cooled a little bit in El Dorado Hills, but I'd say so. Now, the other thing, too, is, and Matt brings up a point as far as like everything going, if you're going to be purchasing a home, whether it's a new home, whether it's a resale home, and this is no matter where you decide to buy, look at the NHDs and analyze it specifically, because you should have full transparency on any house you buy. If you see some trigger words, investigate, figure that out. A lot of times realtors will throw that out and, people just don't look at it. It's just part of the documentation. Natural hazard disclosures are very, very vital for anywhere you plan on buying, whether it's Rancho, whether it's Folsom, whether it's Rockland or whatever. Know everything prior to pulling the trigger on anything at all that you purchase. Knowledge is power, and it's just something that you should know about, as opposed to like buying something and then all of a sudden having a big like gotcha later on down the road. Also, with all those power towers, just know what you're buying. I guess that's my end thing. All right, here we go. We got this one also. Any luxury single story homes in Folsom that are about 3,000 square feet. Wish the Shawwood plan is a little bit bigger. No, I mean, okay, the only thing that I can tell you is Shawwood, yes, that's probably as far as a luxury home builder. Folsom's tough. The only other one that's going to be opening up in the Folsom area is probably going to be the new Taylor Morrison. And Taylor Morrison, some people say luxe, some not. I'd say the other thing you'd be looking at for single story, Toll isn't going to get there. Toll's single story, I think, is somewhere around 22. No, I mean, and that's the thing about generally about like Folsom's a little dry when it comes to new homes. I mean, if you want to go Lennar, I think there's some here and there. If you want to go KB here and there, but or if you want to go for a condo, you got Woodside. But Folsom is a little bit dry. If you want Shawwood, which is a beautiful build, you kind of be close to the 50. If I was looking for a single story and I was looking for Folsom specifically, I'd probably look for a resale, Gold Hill. Probably that's what I'd be looking at. They had some nice single stories that were above 3,000, but for the new stuff, I don't know. That's hard. If there is anything coming up, I'll make sure I let you know. But no, straight up, no. The only other spot, El Dorado Hills, if you want to jump up the hill, but a lot of people, they don't. All right, so here are the schools, guys, for you. We're not going to go into the deep comments on the schools because it's super subjective. Here are the schools you're looking at. If you want to, go to greatschools.org. But here is something also to keep in mind. New schools are being built in Folsom, although there are some problems happening right now with the new homes or in the new home area for the new schools that are being built in Folsom, as my buddy video guy Matt will probably point out as well too. So do your research. Mm-hmm. Now, the other thing about schools as well is a lot of people coming in from the Bay will look at this and go, oh, great, these are the schools we'll go to. Some of these schools tend to be impacted. So figure out exactly where you need to live, what your situation is. I know that like Vista is impacted. I know that like Oak Ridge, I hear Oak Ridge is as well too. So just understand that because we're moving so many people into the area, figure out what that school situation looks like for you. Figure out if it's easy to your kids can commute there or whatnot. All these things you should be doing ahead of time. So just kind of keep that in mind. Right, Corey?
Yeah, 100%. You gotta verify those things, and you gotta get your applications in early to get them registered with that school. And if they're not going to get in, if they're on a wait list or something like that, you want to attack all that stuff early. And oftentimes people feel stuck because you need the primary address before you can do all that school stuff. So that trips people up sometimes. They're like, well, shoot, I need to get them registered. If they're buying a home right now in July, I mean, we're like, what, 2 weeks away from school starting? Or I know some schools in Rancho have already started. So that can make that really tough of what do we do first? And sometimes I know this is not nice to hear, but it's kind of just the reality of it. Sometimes you have to make the move to get the right place for your family, the right home, the right location. And that first year of school may be a little jumbled up. You might have to go to a different school, and then the next year you go to that, you get into the school you need, and now you're established. And I know that's tough to hear, but if you're buying at a time like right now or midsummer and those schools impacted, that might be a slight sacrifice you have to make. And that might be a deal breaker for some people.
Yeah, but you have to know this stuff, right? I saw a crazy stat. The people who relocate, if you find you're going to be living around for 2-3 years and moving out and going somewhere else. So just kind of focus in on what you're buying also. I mean, as Corey and I are talking about, El Dorado Hills and Folsom, great areas, great communities. You can get different lifestyles in all these areas as well too. Just kind of do your due diligence now before just pulling the trigger. This isn't an Amazon purchase, guys. This is a house purchase, which is a big deal. Now, okay, I wanted to mention also in the slide about commute. It's very deceptive, right? El Dorado Hills, you can tack on another 20 minutes if you go deep in. But Folsom's an interesting one, right? Okay, so you got Folsom, you got Serpa, you got you have, Empire Ranch, you have all those spots that are kind of close to the 50. But you also do have Folsom as you go deep into Folsom. Like you have American River Canyon North and American River Canyon that are kind of butted up near Granite Bay, which honestly, if you are literally at the Costco in Folsom and you're trying to get to American River Canyon, that 25-minute drive, if you're lucky with traffic or whatever. I mean, so Folsom spread out as well too, don't you think?
Yeah, I would say I would say El Dorado Hills and Folsom are very similar in that aspect of it. It really depends where you are geographically in that city limits. Because if you're on the northern side, yeah, you're not near Highway 50. It'll take you 15-20 minutes just to get there. Where if you plug it into Google Maps, you're like, mentally you're thinking, I got to get to the freeway so I can get to downtown Sac or get to wherever you're going. But you plug it into Google Maps, it'll tell you to go the opposite way, and it's side streets the whole way. If you have a commute from Folsom to Citrus Heights or Roseville, and you're on that northern side, it's not going to direct you to Highway 50 because that commute will be 40 minutes versus 25. So if you're somebody who doesn't like taking side streets and dealing with traffic lights and stop and go, and you just want to kind of get on a freeway and cruise, then look for those homes within those city limits but closer to the highway. um, but yeah, it can be very polarizing with where you're at within the city.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I would say, guys, when you're coming out here looking at homes, don't assume if you're looking at communities in Folsom that it's going to be like, oh yeah, it's going to be close everywhere. Like GPS it, know your location, know what it looks like at like
Right.
5 o'clock in the evening or at the afternoon, 9 o'clock on Mondays. Figure all that stuff out. Know your commute times. All that stuff is hugely important for your move because at first it's going to be like 30 minutes isn't that bad. 3 months in, 30 minutes is becoming really bad. And then 40 minutes, just so you got to realize exactly where you're going to go in El Dorado Hills or where you're going to go in Folsom and just calculate the commute and see if it works for you as well. Those things are hugely important. And if you're coming up here on a Sunday to look at homes and you're saying like, you know what, traffic isn't that bad. It's Sunday. So traffic's not going to be that bad on Sunday. All right.
And
We got a video guy,
I will
Matt.
say though,
Go for it.
so one thing I will say though is a lot of people say, oh, there's no highway between uh, on those upper edges of both Folsom and El Dorado Hills. But if you're looking at a map, you don't see it. But once you experience it and you live here, Green Valley Road that goes through El Dorado Hills, it's a 2, sometimes 4 lane highway, depending on where you're at in on that road. But that road is fast moving. I mean, you're going highway speeds. You're going between 50 and 70 miles an hour along that road, and it parallels Highway 50, heading east towards Sacramento. So you can get to those places rather efficiently once you get to Green Valley, which turns into Blue Ravine into Folsom. So there is other avenues and other veins that you can use to access locations rather quickly. But if you look on a map, you would never know that. You have to drive that road and experience it for yourself.
Well, I think that that's one of the fun things about living in an area too, driving, getting to know it. And again, guys, what we're seeing more than not is a lot of people, if they don't feel comfortable about an area, they're renting. And sometimes that might be a better solution if you're just on the fence between two areas. I would much rather rent and be sure about my purchase as opposed to buy and just cross your fingers and say, heard 2 guys on YouTube say Folsom was great. I'm making it work, so just that's a little food for thought. All right, let's talk about shopping.
Right.
Let's talk about dining. You got El Dorado Hills, you got Town Center, Nugget, upscale dining, boutique shopping. I would say I agree with that. Although the boutique shopping, there's some, I don't know if they're that much. I mean, I think I'd say more like upscale dining, which I love there. I'd say the Town Center has a nice vibe where you can hang out. There's sometimes music playing. You got the man-made lakes. It's very bougie. Bougie, I'd give it like on my bougie scale, maybe an 8.5. What do you think?
I'd agree with you there. I would say, if you want heavier, if you lean more heavier shopping, and want some of those more larger big box shops easily accessible, Folsom's, you're going to enjoy that more. If you want more upscale dining and more kind of like boutique dining, I think the restaurant selection in El Dorado Hills edges out Folsom just a little bit. And those things are kind of cyclical. You'll have some really good spots open up in a city, and they're there for 3, 4, 5 years, and then boom, they're gone out of nowhere. El Dorado Hills seems to have a really, really strong scene, especially close to Town Center and Town Center adjacent. They have, I don't know, probably 10, 15 restaurants that are amazing 5-star restaurants, fine dining areas. And I know those exist in Folsom too. I think they're just a little bit more spread out, and they get pushed out a little bit from some of those more chain retail, big box kind of places. If that makes sense.
Okay. I would say for me at least, right? I would say if I go to the Town Center, I know where I'm going to go eat. It's usually to eat, right? Sellins or whatever. I'm going to go eat, but I know my destination in the Town Center, right? I'm always like, this is where I'm going to go.
Right.
It's never really about like walking around the stores and everything too. It's just, for me, it just doesn't feel like that type of mall, right? It feels like I'm going to go there to eat or I'm going to go there for a specific reason. I would say the Palladio is a spot where sometimes I'm like, yeah, I'm looking for a shirt, maybe go to Nordstrom Rack, maybe flip over here, flip over there. It's more of like a spot. Yeah, I'm going to swim by Whole Foods, maybe, maybe there's a movie playing. It's more of that type of mall where, oh, there's a concert happening there. Oh, that's kind of cool. Like, I think it's a little bit more of that type of mall where it's a little free form. Like you just go, hey, let's go to the Palladio. Maybe we catch a movie, maybe go somewhere to eat, and maybe, stop into Starbucks, grab a coffee. It seems like a little bit more of just like that type of mall. Like if I bring my like daughter there, it's like a mall that I know that she'll be entertained because there's a lot of options for her. And also there's some like down the street a little bit. There's also the big box stores. You got Home Depot. You got like all the stores as well too. So if you can't find it there, it's like a really, really close hop to the next stores, which are like the next block away. Right. So I find that the other thing too that I notice about where the Palladio is located, there's also sports complexes around there, like for like kids, like volleyball, like indoor soccer.
Andy Moore
and so you get a lot of that traffic from people who are like, oh yeah, my kid's in volleyball right over there. We're going to come to the Palladio. We're going to have some food. So you have that really kind of like, and you have Dave and Buster's over there as well too. So you kind of have that like kind of like family, kind of like, let's go there and have some fun type of vibe. What do you think?
No, I'd completely agree. Palladio, it has places like Color Me Mine. It has Nordstrom Rack. It has like Yard House, the Trader Joe's. It has that, it's a mall with cool smaller shops there as well, but you'll find the bigger names there. Where El Dorado Hills, they'll have like, a specialty bookshop. It's more curated, probably like single owner user that it's a single owner operator of that shop, and it's not a franchise. Maybe some smaller franchises there, but they're a little more unique. Where Folsom, you'll have more of those reliable shops that you'll get the same experience no matter which one you go into, like a Whole Foods. That's all in Palladio. So it's a little bit more reliable on that shopping side, where if we're doing like a heavy grocery haul, we're going down to Costco in Folsom, and then if Costco doesn't have some more specialty stuff we need, pop over to Whole Foods, get it all in one trip, and then we're headed home. But then we go out to dinner in El Dorado Hills,
Oh yeah, that's when you get all the good clothes on. You're going, you're doing your thing, you're having some fun.
Which also. Town Center also has an amazing outdoor kind of concert venue. The shops along kind of the man-made waterway that they have there, they have kind of a little mini outdoor amphitheater, not nearly as large as Palladio, but you go there on a Friday night and you'll probably see 50 kids on scooters all riding around, and you'll see like 4 adults but 50 kids, and everybody's wondering where the adults are. All just sitting back on the outdoor patio dining, enjoying their food, their wine, their beers, all the stuff, kind of keeping an eye on the kids. And that is a really cool thing. They have outdoor concerts there too, so it's they're doing a really good job with it.
I'm gonna give my recommendation too. I love all those spots. I like Encanto, all those places are great. El Dorado, love the Folsom, Mas Tacos and everything too. But I will tell you guys something. I am a fiend for Korean barbecue. Kid you not. Oz is the best Korean barbecue in all the Sacramento area. I'm just throwing it out there. It has the little robots that come out and give you the food. But they opened one up in Folsom that the other spots, it's always packed and you always got a wait list and everything too. But I'm telling you guys, the Oz Korean barbecue in Folsom is always empty. Walk right in. Great service, great people. And tell them Mark sent you for nothing at all, because they will not know who I am. But great place to eat Korean barbecue. Gosh, I do love it. I love
agree.
My Korean barbecue.
I like the Folsom one. Yeah.
Oh, it's empty. Why not?
It's the best.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
All right, check this out. Okay, so let's be real. This is from Jason. We only go to the town center to eat or just for the vibe to hang out. Agreed. There are no good stores there to shop. Even Palladio, not a lot of options to shop. End up in Roseville Galleria. I am going to say something that could be the comment of the evening. I think that sums up the shopping. You're going to, everyone's like the Palladio. Yeah, well, you do your shopping, but it's mainly, and Jason, I think you're going to agree with this. If I say, I do not want to drive all the way to Roseville, I'm just going to go to the Rack. Let's just pick up a shirt over there too. That's usually me. Yeah. Now, if I'm in the Roseville area, I'm like, I'm going to take care of some of the shopping I have, because Roseville still is the heart of our shopping. Agreed, Corey?
Yeah, we batch our time into Roseville because if we're going to go there, from our area, there's no highway, so it's a 45-minute drive from my house to the Roseville Galleria. So when we're going there, it's pretty much a whole day escapade, and we hit all the places we want to go. But I will say, town center does have, depends on what shopping you're doing. For day-to-day needs, there's a Nugget Market, which is sometimes overpriced for groceries, but there is a Target there. A lot of people, it's behind the town center, but it's still within those rounds. So that's our go-to spot. Is the Target. There's a Nugget Market. There is a great movie theater there. Every seat in that movie theater fully reclines. Every movie I see, I fall asleep. My kids hate me. They don't want to take me to. They don't like taking me to the movies because I'm asleep because the recliners are so comfortable. But it's a great spot. You kind of have to explore a little bit in that area to find all the shopping, but there is some there, I will say, but it's nothing compared to
Notice
Roseville. Nothing at
notice
all.
how they said, like, they're like, okay, we're gonna have a Target in the mall, we're gonna have it way over there. We don't want to
Yeah,
mess with the
push it to
vibe
the
of the
outside.
mall. Let's push it to the outside. It's gonna be there, but people aren't really gonna see it's there. But people are gonna kind of understand it's there. It's not gonna flow. But if you want a cigar, you can go over here. If you want a shot, yeah. It's funny how they designed out the mall. They got the Mercedes dealership right there as well too. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
well,
all
there's a whole sports club. Yeah, there's a whole sports club tied in there. There's like a Jiffy Lube and a whole auto center like behind that too. So you can go there, drop off your car, go do a workout, hit your Target run, go grab a bite to eat, head a movie, and then head home. You can do all of that within El Dorado Hills Town Center.
Oh my God, Matt cracks me up. Only rich guys and their young blonde G-wagon driving girlfriends shop in the town center boutiques, but there are enough rich old dudes to keep those shops in business. It's funny. Oh my God, Jason's like, Matt nailed it. That was actually hilarious. It's like Matt and Jason are like going toe to toe for the comment of the night. All right. I seriously think if Folsom El Dorado Hills gets a mall, it'll be the best thing they do. I agree. I think if we can get an indoor Galleria type mall, I think we're due. It should happen. I think Elk Grove should get one as well too, even though people might hate that, but I think Elk Grove deserves one. It's so funny. Whenever I mention like Elk Grove doesn't have shopping, I get slammed. People are like, what? Elk Grove's. I'm talking about a Galleria mall, something like that in Elk Grove, because I think the price point is getting really bigger over there too. So I think that. Okay, let's continue with some stats. Okay, so we're going to go over the market, how the market is doing El Dorado Hills versus Folsom. All right, here we go. We got as far as homes for sale. This is like May versus June 2022. El Dorado Hills had more homes for sale. Folsom sold more homes. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Again, what I've been seeing, and Corey, correct me if I'm wrong, is a lot of these El Dorado Hills homes seem to be a little tad bit overpriced. Where I think Folsom, even though they might be a little overpriced, Folsom homes sell quicker. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think the buyer pool for Folsom, just being in Sacramento County, being SMUD, I think people are more familiar with it. I think it's closer to Sacramento in general. I think the buyer pool naturally is going to be larger for Folsom. So that's not surprising. And I would agree kind of across the board for both that sellers are really pricing for like fall 2025 or even midsummer 2025 pricing, where we had that little bit of a dip of interest rates getting into those like high five range, and everybody's kind of still pricing off that. Agents are still pricing it off those later end comps. And that's somewhat twofold. The sellers are saying, oh, I saw this home, all these homes sell in the past 6 months for this price, but really the 6 months in their head was a year ago, a year and a half ago, and that's not today's market. And the we had that real short period of time where those interest rates dipped real low sixes or below six for a second, and then this war with Iran blew up, and then the rates skyrocketed, and the prices never changed. And so now those people have just sat on the market, and they'd have to do the price reduction, price reduction, price reduction, and they're just kind of chasing that down. So yeah, I think there needs to be a little bit more correction there, and agents really need to look at past 90 days, strictly past 90 days. Don't go back 4 or 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, a year, and show your clients those comps, because you're just feeding them bad information and setting a false expectation. You got to be real with that. And hey, if that doesn't work for them, trust me, you're going to be a far better agent and get much better results and have a happier client if you just give them the real situation and the real data. They might throw a fit, might not like it, but in the end of the day, they're going to be happier when they understand the results and you're both on the same level of expectation.
100% transparency, baby. Okay, look. Gold River Granola. Like I said at the very beginning of this video, we will be giving away free bags of granola, so stay till the end of the video. And stay till the end of the video because you want to learn about El Dorado Hills and Folsom. Now, here's what I find interesting, Corey. Now, check this out. This is interesting. Pending sales, El Dorado Hills. I mean, look at this. Clobbers it, 22.
Wow.
But homes sold, Folsom wins. I mean, is it maybe people falling out because of home insurance, because of stuff going up? I mean, that's bizarre because it should kind of match up, right? Pending sales up, we close it. But it seems like what I'm seeing based on this is the fact that it seems like less houses might be getting in contract in Folsom, but they're taking it to the finish line.
Yeah, and in 2 weeks now, we'll have all these same stats for July. So I wouldn't be surprised if we look at these same exact stats for next month, that we see those homes sold numbers. Maybe not El Dorado Hills outpacing Folsom, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see El Dorado Hills percentage amount far closer to the Folsom amount. Folsom still has a really strong pending number there, but El Dorado Hills, as is higher. So I would say, next month, if we look at the same numbers, and it's all cyclical, every month is different. If we see the same numbers of homes sold next month, I wouldn't be surprised if we see like a 9% for El Dorado Hills and maybe an 11% for Folsom. So
it'll be interesting.
That is interesting, though. Yeah.
All right, we got some more stats for you guys. Okay, hold on. Inventory, El Dorado Hills. Can't you talk? This is usually the time of the program, about an hour, always on the money, where my tongue gets tied up. Inventory declined in El Dorado Hills. Pending sales jumped nearly 23%. Average sold price down 10%. You see what I mean? Like priced high, bringing it down, making it happen. Buyers are active, negotiating, especially in the upper end. And then in Folsom, inventory increased slightly. Closed sales up 13.5, average sold price up nearly 5%, healthy balanced market conditions. So in Folsom, it seems like, even though they're probably listing a little high as well too, things are happening in Folsom as they should. El Dorado Hills, they just need the prices to dip a little bit, realistic pricing, and it seems like things are moving. Wouldn't you agree? Wouldn't you agree, Corey?
Yeah. I would say, things are moving. I think the prices for El Dorado Hills coming down, I think makes sense. I think both places have their pros and cons, and it's tough looking at a month-to-month snapshot. I think this is very interesting numbers, but they could flip-flop completely from month to month going into the next one. Yeah, and one other comment I think I wanted to touch on was Jason's about the mall. If they built a mall in Folsom or El Dorado Hills, especially in El Dorado Hills, I think El Dorado Hills is really trying to be as bougie as they can, if you will. And I don't typically see big shopping malls happening in areas or locations that are trying to be that bougie city or having that bougie vibe. That's like saying, let's put a big shopping mall in Granite Bay. I just don't foresee that ever happening. They want to keep it boutique. In a lot of cities across the nation, especially in California, the bigger shopping malls are in the larger, broader cities that cover a bigger span of values. You may still have the $5 million homes in those cities, but they go down to the $500,000 homes. And so I feel like, I think it would be great. I think everybody would love it. I just don't see the city trying to attempt to do that because they want to stick with that kind of bougie, like specialty shop kind of atmosphere. But sorry to change subjects on you there. I love
it. I would say this. I say this straight up. El Dorado Hills will never build a mall like the Galleria. It will not do it. They'll cut it down. No way. I mean, I'm even surprised Costco is going up there myself. It's just the Amazon Center that was supposed to go there was killed. Boom, boom. I would say if we can get Jason's wish to come true. Here's where it's going to happen, Jason. I'm going to call it right now. You're going to have a Galleria type mall happening in Folsom Ranch. And people are going to be able to access it
100%.
directly from that back road. Was it White Rock
White
Road or
Rock,
whatever it
yeah.
is, all the way up? People from Eldo can do it. Folsom can do it. And you're going to see a mall somewhere around there. I'm calling my shot here. I'm going to say there's going to be a Galleria type mall there. And I think it's going to be absolutely huge. Probably, I mean, a while for that. But the placement right there, right there would be perfect. They can
100%.
build out an amazing
I
mall
agree.
and go, Just hopefully they got to fix East Bidwell first.
Yeah.
All right.
And Grant Line's going to be completely redone too. So Grant Line, comes all the way from about South Sacramento. So
Yeah.
Elk Grove area. So that whole thoroughfare is going to completely change. And then, a mall going in right there makes complete sense. It's big, huge, flat farmland. I would be shocked if they don't put one there.
Oh, yeah. Our video guy, Matt, says, these are great graphics. If you can share where you get the source from, Mark, I'd love to see other cities. Okay, here's the thing. I pulled all this info, not this graphic, or some of the graphics, all the data stuff from the MLS directly, and I threw them into this like AI thing where it pulls in and puts them into graphics for the show. And so, but all the information that I'm showing you guys as far as the sold and everything too, directly from the MLS, might as well get it from the horse's mouth. Now, the only thing I will tell you though, as far as the numbers and everything too, this is where everything gets skewed, right? Is the fact that new home sales, it's hard to factor them into the exact market data. A lot of people out there who are spewing out like information about the market, don't add that in. They're, oh no, the market's great, the market's bad. But we are such a we're so heavy into new homes that it's impossible to really figure out how the market's doing unless you can somewhat get the new home data into this, right? So take it with a grain of salt. I'll give you guys the data for how the market is doing, but a lot of these new homes, they don't even hit the MLS. They don't even hit any of the data that we can quantify as far as the market goes. A lot of people don't throw that in as far as, oh, the market's doing great, the market's this and everything too. Just understand that that's a big, big gap. And in our market, considering how many homes we're building brand new in the entire area, that's something that we just need to incorporate in because it's going to give people a little bit of an idea of how the market is really doing, because new homes are a huge, huge part of the game here in Sacramento. If you haven't moved here, if you don't know about Sacramento area, the Sacramento area has got to have more new home building than almost any area in all of California. And we just don't have a really good way of quantifying that information for people to tell them exactly how many new homes have sold, how many of this. And if people are out there looking at stats and are assuming those are new home stats as well too, they're not. Some of them are. Some of them that get on the MLS get included, but a lot of them, a majority of them, will not be part of the statistics, even that I roll out. What do you think, Corey? Is that pretty good?
100%. Yeah, no, it skews it, especially for a city like Folsom where a bulk of the home sales is new home sales.
All right, Jason, hit the like button. Granola, guys. Granola giveaway coming to you in a second. We're all going to eat granola tonight. Our EDH Town Center is just teamless. Hey. All right. EDH must maintain original guys with young. Man, you guys are cracking me up, man. I swear, it's got to be a little combination of the bad ventilation in this room, big lighting, and it's really hot out here. All right, let's look at this. Okay, so we're talking June 26 versus June 2025. The winner home sales, boom, Folsom. Homes sold, boom, Folsom. Yeah. Pending sales, Dorado Hills, but again, Folsom wins the home sold. So I do think that, there is something going on in El Dorado where it just seems like homes sold should correlate with homes pending, correct? I mean, that's weird, right? I mean, am I just off?
Yeah. No, you're right.
Guys.
No, that's a big differentiator on year over year between homes sold, 4.2%, or Folsom's just exploding. So I would say, going back to the new home sales, maybe that percentage is accounting for that piece of new home sales that did hit MLS. That's such an insane difference.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. All right, so what we got? We got year over year market recap. This is 25 versus 26. El Dorado Hills, luxury market is much more active. Pending sales, luxury market in El Dorado Hills, once you get to the 2-3 million, those things go. Pending sales up nearly 60%. Sellers are asking 21% more. Yeah, that could be a reason why that we are not seeing a lot of closed stuff. But okay, price per square foot is up 5.3%. Average sold price down 7.6%. Buyers are negotiating better, especially in the upper end. Folsom, inventory down 13%. People are buying those homes. Closed sales are up 47%. Months of inventory down 41%. Sold prices down 3.3%. Price per square foot unchanged. Strong, broad-based buyer demand. People want themselves a little bit of Folsom. El Dorado Hills, pricing still needs a little work. What do you think, Corey? What are you getting from that?
Yeah, it's kind of. I think the buyer pool for Folsom is far larger and always will be for Folsom than El Dorado Hills, and I think that a lot of things go into that. I think the entry level price point. I think the county differentiator between the two, which includes utilities, that extra drive. And it's not just a straight drive, like, it is a straight drive on the highway, but you're having that extra elevation change where you have to go up that little bit of a steep grade from Folsom to El Dorado Hills. And I think those things kind of naturally differentiate those buyers. Some people want that separation. Some people don't care about the utility stuff. Some people do care about the utility stuff. But I think Folsom overall, the buyer pool will always be higher. And with the amount of growth that they have, I think this trend will stay the same as for the rest of our lifetime.
Okay. All right. I like that. All right, guys, here's a little graphic I put together. Talked to my buddy Javier Ortiz. We went over some of the reasons why home insurance is a little bit cheaper in Folsom. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this graphic, maybe screenshot it or whatnot. It'll give you a little bit of an idea. But I mean, the general idea also is that Folsom's a little closer towards it's the fire departments, all that stuff too. Now, it depends as well too, because this is very generalized, right? If you live in Folsom on the water and you're on a little road and you're away from the fire departments, all bets are off. El Dorado Hills, the same thing. But generally what you're speaking is that if you have the same house in Folsom and El Dorado Hills, you're probably going to get less. It's going to be less probably on your home insurance than in, there's going to be a little less in Folsom than it is in El Dorado Hills based on statistics. What do you think about that, Corey?
Yeah, 100%. And going back to the NHD, the natural hazard disclosure, that's really what drives a lot of their insurance kind of costs, and El Dorado Hills, I think, has more properties that will qualify as high or very high on a fire risk level than homes will in Folsom. And that insurance cost is very strongly based off that. And that will immediately change the cost.
All right. We got a video I'm at. My theory in Folsom being more demand is EDH for recent years is pure political. Folsom is far more liberal than EDH. Liberal area buyers really want to stay out of El Dorado County. I don't know.
I agree with that.
Yeah. All right. All right.
Yeah.
Let's get.
I don't know how much it affects pure buyer demand. I would love to see some sort of a statistic on that, but does it play a role? I would think so.
It's interesting, right? And I think that as far as anyone who buys anywhere, I mean, you got to know where you're buying. You got to know where your neighbors are. One of the big things also is the idea that if you do come out here, and you're looking at these amazing houses and you're choosing, I like Folsom, I like El Dorado Hills, go to the town center, go to the Palladio, go to the areas, go to Costco's and everything too. Vibe out the people in the area. You're going to love your house. I guarantee you. Folsom, El Dorado Hills, you're going to love, love, love your house. A lot of people from the Bay come up and they're like, oh, it's like going to Costco on an empty stomach. You're going to love it. But vibe out the people, vibe out the areas. See who are your people. Do you feel good there? What's the energy like, and talk to people, talk to neighbors, get as much of that info because you're going to love your house. You're going to move in. You're going to move all your furniture. You're going to go Restoration Hardware. You're going to go IKEA, one of the two. You're going to buy your furniture. You're going to have your house all decked out. And then one of these days, you're going to leave your house and you're going to talk to your neighbors. Then you're going to go shopping. And it would be a crying shame if you did that and you realize that, whoops, kind of moved to the wrong area. So do that ahead of the time. Right, Corey?
Yeah, absolutely. People want to be with people who feel like-minded and not getting into hey, lean this way, lean that way. It's more about just being in a place where you feel like you fit in, and you're in commonality with your neighbors. And I would say, that's there's a lot of liberal and conservative in both areas, but you just kind of have to make sure you're fitting in and feel comfortable where you're at. You don't want to be isolated. I don't think anybody on either side wants to feel isolated in that aspect, in political aspect or a religious aspect or whatever it may be. Everybody wants, at least for me, I love everybody. I want diversity for everybody. I feel like what my thoughts are my thoughts, and they're not meant to be pressed on anybody else. And I would hope that most other people would think that. And at least in my experience in both locations, there isn't a heavy pressure like there would be in like a Bay Area or a Los Angeles, something, or an Orange County. I don't feel a heavy pressure from either side. I feel like there's people from all walks of life, and they mold far better in the Sacramento area in general than they do in a lot of other areas in California and across the nation. So I think that's something special about Sacramento.
I think Sacramento, you can find your people. You just got to look for them and then just feel, because that's where you're going to be living. That's where the kids are going to be. That's where your friends are going to be. That's where you can go on walks and everything too. And part of the whole thing about moving to an area is feeling comfortable, feeling safe, feeling like I made the right move. The last thing you want to do is move, and then 3 years later, you're like, you know what? I hate Bob over there. I'm out of here. Figure out who Bob is before you move in. All right. We got this.
And you want to relate. You want to relate. You want to. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No. Go for it. Hit it.
Yeah, you want to relate to the people you're interacting with. You want to feel comfortable and feel like you have things in commonality. And if Matt's comment here of feeling like you don't fit in Folsom Ranch. Folsom Ranch has a strong cultural tie and a cultural, if you look at the kind of the cultural breakdown of Folsom Ranch, it swings heavily one way. And that may make people feel uncomfortable, and may make other people feel far more comfortable than anywhere else in Folsom. And that's okay. I think that's kind of how these places kind of shake down over time. Yeah, I think that's just kind of how places naturally happen. And if you have a strong opinion one way or another, then maybe that 40-acre parcel with the 2-bedroom log cabin with no neighbors around it is the best fit for you.
You got to just find your spot, find your house, find your people, and know where you're going. But again, I'll lean into this again. It's like, if you're saying to yourself, I'm going to be moving to Sacramento in 6 months and I kind of want to do my research, now's the time to do it. Come out, visit. See the hot weather, check it out, feel the areas, look at the communities, neighborhoods, vibe it out. I mean, kind of become very, very precise as far as what you're looking for. I'm going to tell you that, it really does help a lot if you get out here like 6 months, at least ahead, and you start looking at the areas, going out to dinners, vibing out the people, go to the schools even. All that stuff is super, super helpful to find out exactly where you fit in. This is your life, and you should definitely take it seriously and get educated about every little piece of it. Okay, we got Jason going. Also going to throw us out there that the Restoration Hardware Outlet at Arden Mall has some really good deals for anyone looking. All right, guys, hit Jason. He will pick you up and drive you. No, I'm joking. Yeah, we got some good Restoration Hardware, Arden Mall. I got to check that out myself. Jason, maybe we will go grab lunch and go check it out, because I would love to drool over some nice furniture over there too. All right, here we go. We got one more graphic for you guys. Okay. And this is, okay. This is going to be, check out Sutter Steakhouse. This is a steakhouse. I will go there probably within the next, Jason, you and me, man, Sutter Steakhouse. We'll bring Corey, all three of us. We'll go have steaks down there. All right, let's do that. I'm down. Okay, so last graphic. Now, this is a huge one. We started the show almost with Jason saying this about PG&E and SMUD. It is a huge, huge thing. SMUD, Sacramento County Municipal Utility District versus PG&E. PG&E, SMUD bill here, PG&E bill here. You got brownouts as well too. A lot of people stay out of areas just because of PG&E, and it's something you should consider, especially if you're coming into Sacramento, the Sacramento area, and you're moving from like 1,000 square foot condo in San Jose to like a 7,000 square foot house in El Dorado Hills on PG&E. It is going to be a bear. We're talking generators. We're talking multiple AC units. We're talking about 105-degree weather sometimes during summer, and so PG&E is brutal. I have seen people pivot just because of PG&E. How about you, Corey?
100%. I definitely think it's something you need to consider, you need to look at, you need to have an understanding of before you go in, because it might might not make a difference to you at all. It might make a huge difference for you. You know, if you're on that threshold of barely being able to afford the home in your price point in either city, that PG&E bill might just push you over the edge where SMUD keeps you under the budget that you need to be. So you definitely need to be aware of it, and then kind of have an understanding of how much does this matter to you. Um, I know some people that, the second that their car payment is paid off, and then they immediately go out and get a brand new car. Hey, and that car payment will outpace your PG&E bill all day long. So, if you're willing to, hey, drive that older car a little extra longer, you can definitely afford that PG&E bill. It's not something that's gonna, you're not gonna go broke in 1 month of a summer PG&E bill. But if you plan to live there for 5, 6, 7, 10 years, you need to be aware of what you're signing up for.
Agreed. All right, guys, we're done for the evening. Corey, thank you again, my friend. Guys, love this video. Like this video. Now our granola giveaway. So you guys can jump. Okay, this is the first 3 people to DM and follow Gold River Granola. I've prepaid for 3 bags of this amazing granola for the first 3 people. I support local. If you are a local business owner and you want some promotion, free promotion on this show, and you got a good quality product, you want to go out to the masses, just let me know. I literally would not mind promoting you guys and helping it out. I support local all the way. This granola is awesome. I bought 3 bags just for you guys. First 3 people to DM, mention Sacramento real estate as well too. You get free bags of granola on your Uncle Mark. So it's all good. All right.
Love it. Love it.
$1,000 a month in without solar, 100%. All right. Which is at 5,000 PG&E run total monthly. What does an ED? Okay. What do you think? 5,000 square foot home depending on solar. I mean, shoot, with solar, I mean, I'd say about $1,000. I mean, somewhere around there without solar. What do you think?
Yeah, I think video guy Matt's spot on that. About $1,000 a month, without solar, if your home is not naturally shaded. So that's another thing a lot of people don't take account for. We're in the foothills here. If once you get past kind of Shingle Springs, there's a little bit more of a valley there where you don't have a lot of those. The mature trees are there, but they're a little more spread out. El Dorado Hills, Cameron Park, a lot of that, you go pull up to the home and they may not have solar because the whole house is fully canopied under a blanket of shade, and their PG&E bill might be $600 a month. The other thing is, once you get a little bit further up the hill, a lot of the heating bills run on propane. So if you have an electric heater for the wintertime, that'll push your PG&E bills up significantly. If you're in an area with propane, you're avoiding that completely. So it can be very subjective. For 5,000 square feet at that size, yeah, with no solar, fully exposed to sun, with no shade coverage, canopy, $1,000 a month is not unrealistic.
Guys, that's a big one. All right, guys, until next week, we are done. Thank you, Corey, my friend. Again, on Friday, I'll be dropping a really amazing video of a brand new active community that you guys should check out. And we're done. Enjoy the granola. Hopefully, I'll have more local giveaways as well. Corey, you're a rock star. We're out of here.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, hopefully you enjoyed the show tonight. Buying and selling is stressful. I mean, there are definitely different avenues you can go in, and there's no guarantee. Every property is different, whether you're looking to buy it or sell it. So reach out to our team and we can talk to you a little bit about the pros and cons of selling currently, what your house is valued at, and all that stuff too. There's a link below to schedule a call. Now, if you're thinking about moving to the area, guys, reach out to our team as well. We're working with a lot of people relocating them to the Sacramento area. We absolutely love it. There's a Zoom link below. Set up a time where we can talk to you a little bit about what your needs are. Now, if you enjoyed this live broadcast, smash that like button. We would love to talk to you a little bit about Sacramento. I mean, we always are out and about. So if you're looking at places like El Dorado, Roseville, Rockland, Davis, we got you covered. Just reach out to us. And maybe you don't want to do a Zoom call, so just hit me at my phone number on the banner and we can talk a little Sacramento. Now, guys, one last thing before I go, there's a playlist right over there of other videos I've done about the Sacramento area. Knowledge is power. Those videos will help you kind of make a decision if Sacramento is that spot for you and you want to take it to the next stage. All right, guys, this is Mark. Have a good one. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. Remember, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next video.